I used to think sweet fruits were off limits if you had blood sugar issues. That's what folks always said. Stay away from anything sweet or you'll end up on insulin. But here's the truth that surprised me. There's one tiny fruit, sweeter than it ought to be. That's actually helped me avoid insulin at 68. Blueberries. Just plain, humble blueberries. No added sugar, no cooking, just rinse and eat. Tastes like a dessert from back when Grandma used to make pies in the summer. Only this one fights sugar spikes instead of causing them. I started having a handful after lunch, and within weeks, I felt steadier in the mornings, less foggy. My doctor even raised an eyebrow when my numbers started holding steady. Ain't it funny how something so small could do so much? I remember sitting on the porch one evening, Bible in one hand and this fruit in the other, thinking, "Thank you, Lord, for showing me this in time." My knees weren't aching as much. My eyes weren't straining as they used to with the crossword. And best of all, my glucose monitor wasn't screaming anymore. I'm not here to sell you a miracle, just to share what's worked for me and many folks I know. Today, I'm walking you through the 7 real benefits this tiny fruit brings to folks like us over 60, especially if you're trying to steer clear of insulin. If this video brings you value, give it a like and share it with someone you love. And hey, there's also a natural drink in the description below that helps lower blood sugar while you sleep. It's been a blessing for me, and it might be for you too. Number 7, easy to eat every day. Some mornings, even pouring a bowl of cereal feels like too much. My hands ache a little, the legs are stiff, and I just want something that doesn't ask much of me. That's one of the reasons I started eating blueberries every day. No peeling, no chopping, no heating, just rinse and eat. I can add them to my oatmeal or eat them plain with a spoon, and that's breakfast sorted. For folks like us who don't want to spend the whole morning in the kitchen, that kind of simplicity feels like a small blessing. Frozen or fresh, they fit in just about any meal. Some days I stir them into Greek yogurt with a sprinkle of cinnamon. Other times, I'll toss them into a warm bowl of cream of wheat. Melts just enough to release that soft purple color. My daughter even blends them into smoothies for me when she visits. And you know what? It still tastes like a treat, even without sugar. There's something about their natural sweetness that reminds me of summer days back in Georgia. A lot of so-called healthy foods require gadgets or fancy steps. You gotta roast, steam, or soak them overnight. Not blueberries. I can keep a small bowl by my recliner and grab a few while I watch the news. It's easy on the teeth, easy on the stomach, and doesn't spike my sugar. Even when I'm tired, they don't feel like a task. They're more like a comfort. I used to reach for cookies in the evening. Just a little dessert after dinner, you know? But they never helped my numbers. Swapping those out for blueberries felt like a loss at first, until I realized I didn't miss the cookies at all. The berries satisfied my sweet tooth without the guilt or the crash. Sometimes the simplest swaps make the biggest difference, especially when you're doing it every day. I thank God for foods that meet me where I am. Tired hands, limited energy, and all. Blueberries became part of my day, not because they're trendy, but because they're doable. At this age, I don't want complicated. I want something that fits into my life quietly, like a good friend who doesn't need to knock to come in. Number 6, protects the eyes. The smell of blueberry pie used to drift through my mama's kitchen every 4th of July. Back then, I didn't know those little berries were doing anything but tasting good. Now, at 68, I see them through different eyes, literally. After a few months eating them daily, I noticed I wasn't squinting so much at the paper or reaching for my readers as often. Turns out, those same berries from Mama's pie help protect the retina, thanks to lutein and vitamin C. Funny how the same fruit that once made my summer sweet now helps keep my vision from fading. If the eyes are the window to the soul, mine were starting to fog up. I get blurry spots, tired eyes, and this heaviness behind them, especially after a long day. But something started changing, slowly and quietly, after I brought blueberries into my daily routine. I didn't make the connection at first. It wasn't like a miracle moment. More like, I could read the Psalms longer before my eyes got tired. I could drive to the store without feeling strained. Small things that add up. I read somewhere that these berries are packed with anthocyanins, which help protect tiny blood vessels in the eye. That matters a lot when you've lived with high blood sugar for a while. My cousin Ray lost some of his sight to diabetic retinopathy, and I don't take my vision for granted anymore. If a bowl of berries helps delay that kind of trouble, I'm all in. The Lord gave us tools in nature. We just forget to look for them sometimes. These days, I keep a little glass jar of blueberries in the fridge, right at eye level. That way, I can't miss them. I'll grab a spoonful before lunch, sometimes before bed too. No recipe needed. They're like daily eye drops, but tastier. I told my doctor I've been reading better lately, and she said, "Whatever you're doing, keep it up." That's good enough for me. There's something peaceful about knowing I can do one simple thing for my eyesight without pills or lasers. I thank God for every morning I open my Bible and see the words clearly. Even if they get a little fuzzy someday, I'll know I did my part, one spoonful at a time. Number 5, supports heart health. If blueberries had a uniform, I'd say they wear a little sheriff's badge when it comes to heart trouble. Quietly patrolling, keeping things in order. A few years back, my blood pressure was creeping up. Nothing wild, but enough to make me nervous. My doctor talked about medication, and I knew I had to do something. Around that same time, I added blueberries to my daily routine. Didn't expect much, but over time, my numbers started leveling out, especially that top number. Steadier heartbeat, fewer dizzy spells. It didn't fix everything, but it helped more than I thought it would. There's a kind of wisdom in how simple this is. Blueberries help the lining inside our blood vessels, called the endothelium, if I remember right. Stay relaxed and flexible. That makes it easier for blood to move and keeps the heart from working overtime. I don't pretend to understand all the science, but I know how I feel. Less tightness in my chest when I'm walking up the driveway. Less pounding when I climb stairs. It's like the engine's running smoother. Every Sunday after church, I sit with my friend Bill. He had a mild stroke last year and started getting serious about what he eats. I told him about blueberries, and now we both joke that they're God's blood pressure pills. We mix them into cottage cheese or toss them on pancakes made with almond flour. It's not just good for us. It tastes like something we shouldn't be allowed to have. But the best part? We're both staying off new prescriptions, and that's a win. I used to think heart problems were just part of aging, like gray hair or knee pain. But the truth is, some of it's optional, depending on how we treat our bodies. The oxidized cholesterol that causes blockages can be reduced, and blueberries help with that too. They might be small, but they punch way above their weight. I don't need a supplement when the grocery store gives me this kind of medicine in a pint-sized box. Looking back, I'm grateful I didn't wait for a scare to change things. Blueberries became a habit, not because I was told to, but because I felt the difference. If my heart could talk, I think it'd say, "Thank you." And I'd say, "Don't thank me, thank the berries." Number 4, reduces inflammation. You ever wake up and feel like your joints filed a complaint overnight? That was me most mornings. Knees stiff, hands swollen, like I'd aged 10 years in my sleep. I thought it was just part of getting older. But when I started eating blueberries daily, not for inflammation, mind you, but for my sugar, I noticed something surprising. The aches quieted down. Not gone, but gentler. Easier to get out of bed. Easier to button my shirt without wincing. I didn't expect a fruit to be part of my arthritis routine, but here we are. Turns out, blueberries are packed with antioxidants that go after the stuff our bodies produce when they're under stress. Chronic inflammation, especially the kind tied to diabetes, makes everything worse. Joints, digestion, even mood. These berries help turn down the fire. It's like the difference between standing by a calm fireplace and being inside a smokehouse. I'm still stiff some days, but I don't feel like I'm at war with my body anymore. One afternoon, my grandson asked why I always put blueberries on my peanut butter toast. I told him, because they keep Grandpa from creaking like an old rocking chair. He laughed, but it's true. I used to need ice packs and heat pads just to get through the day. Now, a small bowl of blueberries feels like my daily armor. Doesn't fix everything, but it sure helps soften the edges of old pain. I read about a study where folks who ate blueberries regularly had lower levels of things called CRP and TNF-alpha, fancy names for what fuels inflammation. I couldn't tell you what those letters mean, but I do know my elbows don't bark as loud when I'm turning a wrench in the garage. Even my shoulders feel less heavy when I carry groceries in. It's like the little things, twists, steps, stretches, don't feel like such a battle. Sometimes I look at that little plastic carton and think, who would have guessed you'd be the one helping me move easier in my 60s? I thank God for that quiet kind of healing, the kind that doesn't come with side effects or warnings on the label. Just a bowl, a spoon, and a little less pain than yesterday. Number 3, supports memory and brain health. I'll admit it, I used to forget why I walked into a room more times than I care to count. I'd stand there, scratching my head, thinking, now what was I looking for? At first, I just laughed it off, but deep down, it worried me. Then one day, I came across something saying blueberries support brain health. I figured, can't hurt. I started eating them daily, not expecting much. But after a few weeks, I noticed I was finishing sentences easier, remembering names faster, and following conversations without getting lost halfway through. Blueberries are full of flavonoids, natural compounds that help the brain cells talk to each other. I don't understand all the science, but I know how it feels when the gears turn smoother. I read the news without rereading the same paragraph 3 times. I can pray through a whole list of folks from church without forgetting half of M. That kind of mental clarity feels like a second wind, and I never knew it could come from something as simple as a fruit. My friend Harold jokes that blueberries are brain polish. I think he's on to something. He used to lose his train of thought mid-story. Now he's sharper, even remembers our bowling scores from years ago. We both started tossing blueberries into our breakfast, like adding spark plugs to a tired engine. Doesn't make us geniuses, but it keeps the lights on upstairs. And at our age, that's something to be grateful for. I also learned that blueberries improve circulation to the brain, which helps with focus and alertness. Makes sense. Better blood flow, better thinking. I used to get this mental fog in the afternoons, like a curtain dropping between me and the world. Now I feel more present, more there. It's not dramatic, but it's steady, like someone cleaning the windshield a little more each day. I thank the Lord for anything that helps keep my mind clear. Life's too precious to spend in a daze. These little berries became part of my routine, not just for the body, but for the soul. I still lose my keys now and then, but I remember why I walked into the room, and that's progress worth celebrating. Number 2, improves insulin sensitivity. I remember the first time my doctor explained insulin resistance. I just nodded, but truth be told, I didn't really get it. All I knew was my sugar wasn't behaving, and my meds kept creeping up. That's when I started looking for natural ways to help my body use insulin better. That's also when blueberries became more than just a snack. I didn't realize it at first, but these little berries help your cells respond to insulin the way they're supposed to. Not by force, by support. There's something in their dark purple skin, called anthocyanins, that helps the body move glucose from the blood into the cells. I imagine it like a rusty door getting oiled. Things just work better. My numbers started smoothing out, especially after meals. I wasn't getting those dizzy drops or those heavy, sleepy crashes afterward. It felt like the sugar had somewhere to go again, instead of just floating around causing trouble. Funny thing is, I didn't make any huge changes. Just swapped out afternoon cookies for a bowl of blueberries. Added them to my Sunday pancakes. Even stirred them into chia pudding once. Didn't love it, but it worked. The key was consistency. My body started listening again. The more I fed it right, the more it cooperated. Less resistance, more balance. That's a gift you feel in your bones. A friend from Bible study, Nancy, said her doctor was shocked at how stable her readings were after just a couple of months. All she'd done differently was eat blueberries every day. They're not magic, but they sure seem to remind the body how it's supposed to work. Especially when you're over 60 and everything moves a bit slower than it used to. Looking back, I see now it wasn't about doing more. It was about doing smarter. Thank God for simple, natural helpers that don't come with a long list of side effects. Blueberries didn't just help my sugar numbers. They helped me feel more in control again. That peace alone is worth a place on my plate every day. Number 1, helps control blood sugar. Back when I first started tracking my blood sugar, I felt like I was walking on eggshells. One wrong bite, and my numbers would shoot up like a firework. I tried cutting carbs, skipping snacks, even going hungry some nights, but nothing felt stable. Then I heard about blueberries having a low glycemic index. I figured, how can something sweet not spike my sugar? But I gave a shot, a small bowl after meals, and the difference was real. My glucose stopped jumping like a rabbit and started moving like a calm stream. See, blueberries digest slowly. That means your body doesn't get hit with sugar all at once. They've got soluble fiber, the kind that works like a sponge in your gut, soaking up sugars and letting them in gradually. It's like having a traffic cop inside you, letting cars pass one by one instead of a messy pileup. I used to feel shaky an hour after eating. Now, I stay even. No highs, no crashes. Just a smooth, steady ride. What surprised me most is how I didn't need to give up the pleasure of eating. These berries satisfied my sweet tooth without punishment, and that's rare. I can eat them plain or with a dollop of peanut butter, or even frozen right out of the bag. When the grandkids visit, I toss them into whole wheat pancakes, and everyone's happy, me included. That's the kind of treat that helps, not hurts. I've had folks tell me they're scared of fruit because of the sugar. I get it, but not all sweetness is created equal. Blueberries don't behave like candy. They behave like medicine dressed up as dessert. My doctor once said, "You're managing your levels better than some folks on insulin." That stuck with me. I thank God for that small but powerful help sitting right in my fridge. Ending up on insulin isn't always a choice, but staying off it longer than expected sure feels like a blessing. And if a handful of blueberries can buy me a few more years of freedom, I'll keep eating them every day with joy and gratitude. When I think back to everything I've tried, pills, diets, strict rules, I never imagined one of the best helpers would be something I used to walk right past in the grocery store. Blueberries ain't flashy. They don't shout for attention. But sometimes the quiet things are the ones God uses most. Just a handful a day, and I'm sleeping better, walking easier, thinking clearer, and yes, keeping my sugar where it should be. Not bad for something you can eat with a spoon. It's not about finding a magic bullet. It's about building small habits that love you back. That's what blueberries became for me. A daily act of kindness toward my own body. No stress, no guessing, just a little bowl by my breakfast plate, like a promise to keep showing up for myself. And every time I eat them, I feel like I'm making peace with my health, one bite at a time. If you're like me, past 60, maybe tired of chasing answers, this is one thing you can try without fear. It's simple. It's natural. It's something God already put on this earth for us to find. Whether you're managing diabetes, try to think clearer, or just looking for a smarter snack, these little berries might be a good place to start. No need to overhaul your whole life. Just add something good. That said, always talk to your doctor before changing anything big in your routine, especially if you're on medications. Everyone's body is different, and what works for me might need adjusting for you. But if your doc gives a green light, give blueberries an honest try. Not for a day, for a season. See what happens. I pray you find what works for you. And I hope this small story helps you feel a little more hopeful today. Thanks for spending this time with me. Take care of yourselves, and God bless y'all.